Hi everyone to episode 15 of the Lachi Molala Diaries. Today we have two new guests on our show. Atula, welcome. She's a lawyer and a baby K-drama watcher. She became a K-drama watcher during the pandemic. So welcome. We're so excited to have you. And we also have Michelle. Hi Michelle. She is an interior designer and she's also a co-worker. She works in my office, and she's also baby Ami. And we're finally excited to have a Korean person on our show to see how different perspectives are, throughout like our K-drama and K-pop podcast. And of course, Chef is here. And again, yeah, we missed you. We've been on quite a long break, so finally excited to be here. And our topic for today is be melodramatic. Yes, thank you for the background. It looks amazing. Yeah, so we love the show and we will jump right into the segments. Chef, take it from here.
Thanks, Shoots. Welcome, both of you. Very excited to have you all here. Let's start with the funniest moment or moments that you have from Be Melodramatic. We'll start with you, Atula.
Sure, done. Thanks for having me, folks. Really, I've been a long time viewer of the podcast, and I'm really excited to be discussing one of my fave dramas so far with you. Very quickly, I started watching Be Melodramatic because I needed a break from like Vincenzo, but I loved John Yobin. So started watching this with no expectations and did not realize how many belly laughs I would laugh through each episode. So this question is very, very difficult, but I'll tell you a couple of my favorite moments anyway. So one, I just loved the dynamic between Jinju and Bonsu. You initially start off the show thinking like, really, Jungbom from Reply 1988, he's the hero. Like I'm supposed to root for this guy to be an ML, but he totally grows on you. Their banter is just top notch. And some of the funniest moments are just them just bullshitting at a coffee shop. And and a couple of standout moments to me within like their banter is that moment when she just casually drops in that you're so annoying, I wish I could just hit you at the back of the head and you'd like pass out. And then most shows would have left it at that, but Be Melodramatic actually works it into that episode. And he's annoying her at that PPT presentation meeting in front of a bunch of really important men, and she actually hits him at the back of the head and he passes out. And I just loved how the show actually went back and did that. I thought that was beautiful. Another favorite is also, I don't think this episode would be complete if we didn't mention the farting episode. And I think it just beautifully captured the awkwardness of, like early love and like early dating so well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I laughed for like 15 minutes straight in that episode. So yeah, those are two standout moments. But honestly, this was very, very hard to pick.
Truly agree with you on that. I hope Michelle, Shruti, and I can cover some of the rest that you had to, with a heavy heart, leave out. So then over to you, Michelle. Which are the funniest moments from Be Melodramatic?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar, but I choose two of the coffee shop scenes with Im Wright, the girl character Jinju and the Pomsu. The first one with the main writer, which is Jung writer. Yeah, how the Pomsu rejected her like writing, like her script. That was, I think, funniest moment. And then when the Jung wanted to give some advice, and then he was like, I don't want to hear something like that. That was actually very, very funny, because in Korea we certainly don't really usually do that to older or some like professional people, right? So that was very funny, and that was actually, I kind of wanted to do that maybe one day to someone I really want to say something, I don't want to hear from you or your advice or something. That was one. And then the other one was the same coffee shop when the Pomsu offer to the Im writer, then you want to work with me, and then Im writer kind of wanted to have her like proud or something, and then the scene she just stood up, and then she just wanted to leave, but he didn't ask or anything, but she just turned around. Did you call me? Why? And then the Pomso was like, I didn't say anything. And then, no, you called me. I'll just sit here. That scene was very funny for me. I don't know why, but the Pomso answer was very funny. Okay, it's okay, no matter. You said something first and then I called you. It's okay. Please sit down. That was, I think, funniest moment for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this. I think these are the, those, again, it's always the little things, right? It's moments like these where you're like, you would normally ignore this. But this guy is like, I didn't call you.
Yeah.
That one scene, yeah.
Yes, yeah, brilliant. And yeah, you're right, Michelle. This is goals. I think for a lot of us doing this to someone.
Ande.
Shoots, what about you?
Yeah, like Atula said, it's so hard to pick funniest moment because these in-between things are so funny. And if I say them out loud in our show, like just explain it like that, it's not funny. It won't sound funny. Like you have to see it. It's all about the context. So I'll just pick two favorite scenes. So what I find the funniest about this show is how they are so focused on having a healthy diet, and in that there are so many jokes coming out of that. So the first one was when the Vincenzo Valli actress, I forgot what was her name in the show.
Gunjam,
yeah. So she's doing some sit-ups on her floor, and she's like exhausted, and she tells Jinju that why are sit-ups so hard? Why is it so hard to do just 3 sit-ups? And Jinju is like, wow, did you just do 3 sit-ups? Wow, muscle mania. So she's impressed by just 3 sit-ups. So that was hilarious. And just, adding on to this working out part, there was this one long ass monologue where Jinju described a perfect world. So she said, she goes, I actually wrote it down, so I'm going to read out a few lines. She's like, I had a dream. The world was very different. People went to work in the morning. Students went to school. This was just another morning. I woke up like any other day. And in the morning, people were grilling meat with happy faces. They look happy. I took part in that happiness. Everyone woke up with meat. At lunch, everyone had to take sodium and carbs, and this improved our national prestige of Korea. People had to increase their, missing calories. And wait, it doesn't end there. The government actually gave support funds to eat midnight snacks. So chokba and boiled pork, right? Like everyone is supposed to eat that every morning. And, parents encourage their children to eat pizzas and burgers. And if your kids don't eat that, then then you suck at parenting, right? So she gave a long monologue of like her ideal world where, fried chicken is goals. And then she ends it with, and of course, then I woke up and this was all just a dream. So I found it so funny because like that's goal, right? Like all we want to do is just eat garbage food and like not put on weight. So it was very nicely done, and I found it hilarious.
Yeah, and they follow through, right? Like the show is like full of them just snacking, sitting together, and eating midnight snacks. So good to see and so relatable. Exactly what I ideally be doing with my girlfriends.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So it's that. What about you, Chef? What are your funny scenes?
So, I have also written something down. I'll start with the first one, which starts with this very serious monologue where, somebody you don't know yet, because it's actually in Jinju, the writer, the screenwriter's voice, but you don't know yet that it's actually her monologue. It's like, do you think, love is all about happiness? You begin to hurt the second you fall in love, and it subsides as you break up. You fiddle with the scab on your wound, and once the scab comes off, you just feel empty. And all this, you realize, is a ploy to get that designer bag. So it's that bag, the bag is talking to her and saying all these things. What is love?
Gold.
And then finally she goes how she basically steals money from her younger sister's piggy bank to get this bag. It doesn't like, it's like, they complete the whole thing by saying she was my younger sister. So there's an introduction sort of like, that's seeded into this, where she's like, so, oh, by the way, this is my younger sister. She's going to grow up to become a police inspector to arrest people like me. So this, I thought, this is the first episode itself, and I think it sets the tone for how this series is going to be, where every moment you'll be hit by something serious and then suddenly you'll break into laughter.
It's a shit post.
Yeah, you realize that first you're like, shit, and then you're like, shit. So it's, that's something that happens a lot. I think the other thing that I found really funny and nice was Jinju's dynamic with her parents. Like there's this one time when she's sad and she's like, Amma, why did you give me birth? And the Amma just does one up. Why were you born? Like, why did you take birth? Then there was this one time when she was sitting upright, right? And Bongsoon was like, Auntie, look at your daughter, and she's not speaking, she's not moving. And she's like, let it be, let it be. I feel very happy. I feel proud as a mother when she's like that. They're just like a really nice sort of, dynamic that they have going between them. So I really like that. One thing that I noticed was at one point when she gets a designer bag for her sister, it says Chanel. Instead of Chanel, it's CHA and then NELL. I was wondering if that's actually a designer brand or if this is also supposed to be funny. So maybe somebody in the comments will tell us.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's an Easter egg.
Yeah. Sorry, last one. I absolutely enjoyed the dynamic between Bongsu, the director, and the B team's director, the head of the B team. Bongsu will just call this guy in the dead of the night, asking him questions about his love life. And then when this guy would start irritating him, he would start yelling at him. You have called somebody at past midnight and then you're yelling at them. It's just like, I just found that entire dynamic really fun. At one point when their Bongsu and Jinju's relationship was kind of, it became like a popcorn topic. This guy comes to him and he says, now you should get married. At least when you people die at your funeral, they won't say, oh, your awkward relationship is over now. What is this? It's just like, I think it's just funny on a very different level. I want a rapport like that with somebody at work who can make light of every most serious situations so that you can laugh about it. So those are my funny picks. Now over to something, which can be fun, but more something that tugs at the heartstrings. So, your most heartwarming moments, again, starting with you, Atula.
Again, the show had no like dearth of these sweet, soft moments as well. But I think one of my favorites that, still kind of, brings me to tears when I think about it is when, Yoonjung has had like a big breakthrough moment. She's lost someone she loves and she's processing her grief in her own way. And I think it's only after she has that breakdown and you really feel for her and, she tells her friends, hey, I'm ready, I need help. And then all of her friends come and hug her and, tell her that, they're here for her and all of that. And more than just the sweetness of that moment, it's that you realize that for 2 years, they've just been giving her this space to process in her own way, right? All they've done is like practically be siblings to her, move into her house and be like, we're here for you, but we're not going to force you to move on quicker than you're ready to. So like, I think it's that realization that makes that moment just so sweet. And I love how they're there for each other, not just, to like drink Nikju in the middle of the night and eat fried chicken and, talk about their work lives and the Korean drama industry, but also like to be there with each other for like their really powerful moments. So that's a really big one. Another heart-tugging moment, which again, I have to go back to the fart episode, and I did not think this episode was capable of bringing me to tears, but it ends with Jinju's mom trying out for the first time in their marriage, actually farting out loud in front of her husband. And you actually realize that, he's taken it very, very seriously, thinks there's something wrong with her, and goes to the hospital, gets a bunch of reports, asks her to get a bunch of reports done, and says, you're so important to me, and I can't imagine anything happening to you. And, even that was such a sweet moment. You're seeing love in all these forms, in friendship, in, someone who's like a bereaved fiance, and like a mother's love for a child, and all of that. But you also see old love, and it's just so sweet. It's such a well-written drama. I love it.
Nice.
Michelle, what are your favorite heartwarming moments?
Yeah, I think for me it's again it's kind of similar. So for me, every time when they gather together, especially nighttime, with all those night snack or night food, and then they're discussing of their how their day went back, and then what happened they shared. I think those moments are really heartwarming because for me personally, I have those experience with my friends, so I know how that feel. It's actually really heartwarming, and then it's really fun. The moment every night they're together, and then they share some food, and then they share their story. So I think, yeah, most of the gathering, the moment is heartwarming. And then another thing, for me, I really personally like the main actual writer. And then you remember the later on the two directors, and then two writers, and then the other, I don't know is how you call it in English, but the five people they gather, and then they have like drink together.
Yeah.
And at the moment, the Im writer and then the Chung writer, they had like conversation, and they kind of respect each other in a very funny way. Actually, it was a very funny way because the Im writer told, you are the most, I think, sensitive or like a hysterical person, but you are the pure hysterical person. But I respect about that. But I don't know but I feel like that's actually a very respectful moment for me. So I think that moment.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it was a nice moment. She also says, right, become famous so that I can be proud and I can say that you were,
exactly,
my assistant director, but
yes,
don't become too famous that I have to be jealous of you.
Yes,
that was
exactly. That's
genuine.
Yeah, that's actually very nice sentence to have this saying.
Yeah, that was actually, thanks for bringing that up. I think that was a very nice, underrated, special moment.
For me, yeah, it's a combination of, what Atula and Michelle said, like all these gathering moments at night. Like, I think that's the essence of the show. It's just how they're there for each other. They don't really have to say much. They're pretty much just shit posting and just cracking stupid jokes, roasting each other about, and, making, like just making jokes about each other. But that is so meaningful. And that is so, heartwarming. And it makes me so, it makes me feel so happy that even they're not technically your family, but they're your life, right? Like it's so nice to have that friendships. Like, I don't know, as I grow older, these friendships are so much more meaningful to me now, and these K-dramas are not helping. They're just making me miss my friends who are back home in India even more and more every day. So I want to specify one scene, which was again, one of the gatherings. So there was this one time where the director was just, she was sad about something. She's sad about everything in general, but she was just lying on the floor, and she said, like, why are you guys always here? I just want to be depressed in peace. This isn't fun. Leave me alone. So Jinju, no, not Jinju, the third actress, the one who's the mother, single mother, she goes, should we sleep together? And the director goes, no. And then she's like, okay, fine, we'll sleep together, right? So she refuses to hear her answer. And then Jinju says the most random thing. She's like, do you want my breast milk? And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah. And then meanwhile, the brother's behind just playing, some very melodramatic song on his guitar. So then this director goes, oh, I live around such weird people. One girl wants to sleep with me. My other friend wants to give me her breast milk, and I have a live human jukebox behind me, right? And it was just such a nice moment captured from like a drone scene where you just see them lying on the floor and playing guitar and just like not letting her go. And even though she says that she doesn't like this, but inside her heart, like we all know, she's just afraid to admit that how much she needs this. It was so awesome, and I was just so touched. That's what you need sometimes, like friends who won't let you go even though you tell them just fucking leave me alone, right? um that's me. uh, so that scene was awesome. And the other one other heartwarming scene I want to mention is that the actress is there and her manager Minjun. Um, they they were at a restaurant once, and she wanted to burp, and but she's an actress. She has a reputation, and she's like, of course I can't, burp out loud in public. So so then her manager goes, okay, in 3, 2, 1. He gets up and he screams loudly, and then in that span of time she burps, so that her burp is like no one pays attention to her and no one can hear her. And I was just like, oh my god, this moment can only happen in a K-drama and only be melodramatic. Like I wouldn't have even thought of such a thing, that to hide the person you like, their burp, like you would just scream and make a fool of yourself. And that was just so nice. It was so unique. I've never seen something like that before. So I was very touched. And that is true love. If someone makes a fool of themselves to hide your burp or fart. Ah, beautiful. So that was my favorite heartwarming scene. And what about you, Chef?
So everything that you all have covered are already there in my list. So thankfully I can just like strike them, and whatever remains, I'll just go with that. But I'll tell you which ones were at the top of my list. The hug moment where Yoon Jung comes and says, I'm really tired, I need a hug. I think that was the most special moment in this entire show. So that's right at the top. I think the farts episode with the parents, where you're actually, it's also, there are so many things, in that particular episode. You discuss farts between Bongsu and Jinju. You discuss them, like these four, they discuss that, the entire fart episode. Yes. In the night where Yoon Jung is like, why are we discussing this? Is this really important? And then, you get to the parents. So it's like, you've covered like 3 different sets with farts and how everybody reacts. And with parents, how it's so different, where they've never farted in front of each other. And I think her trying to get her mother to fart in front of her father, that in itself is so special, I feel. It's like, it's like me telling my mother when, last year when she turned 59, the year before last, actually, it's a pandemic. I actually sent her a story I had written on people above 50 who are dating. And I said, you know what, you should probably think about this. So like, just getting that, that barrier sort of out of the way. So these are 2 like sort of top 2 special moments for me. I would just want to sort of now get to the special mentions, which don't really make it into the list. The first one is all the Reply 1988 references here. I think that was just so heartwarming, because it just takes you back into that world, and you realize that, it's just like, it's like, the Mad Over Donuts double trouble. So you have just, you've doubled the chocolate in that sense. So I think that was all the Reply 1988 references here. They were really good. Another mention would be to Aegyo, where they discuss, there is a particular scene where I think Jinju goes or Yoon Jung, one of these 2 says, is there a word, like an equivalent word for this, where you're acting in a way that you are perceived as charming and cutesy? And it's just a revelationary moment for them, right, where they realize that there's a problem here, that this is expected out of you, because they say that the only other culture in which there is a word for this is Japanese. So that it's a cultural thing, and it's something that and then she goes she goes the next day, and she basically tells people that this is not how it's going to work. You wanted egg yolk, right? Here, I'm giving it to you. And which is my way of saying I'm actually not going to bow down and be exactly what you wanted. And so when she actually gets what she wants, she has that stern face and she says, thank you, Oppa. So love that. Besides that, I think the shampoo moment, right? How can we not mention shampoo? Especially when it's all fun and games until she's singing and the guitar appears out of nowhere. But I think in the end, when he says how one feels when one has a breakup, your bones ache, and this song is a reminder of that. How could you play this? Like, how could you do this to me? That was just so threadbare, and you're so vulnerable. You're telling somebody. So many times we don't do that now. I think we should do that. We could just ask somebody, how could you do this? This is really hurtful, as opposed to just like letting misunderstandings sort of surface. So I think I felt like that was a very nice moment where he could shut her up, but also make her think. And it's like a jolt, and in a very like casual way. So that's right up there. And yeah, it seems that is pretty much it with all my heartwarming moments. So now we are at the last segment. We really want to know which is the one character from the entirety of this drama that you like the most or you relate to the most. Atula.
Cool. Shivali, I'm actually so glad you brought up the moment after the shampoo scene, because I think that also really set the tone for their relationship, right? Like her prior relationship was just passive aggression and, hurting each other through silences. But then, Bomsu and her were just communicative from the get-go. And I just love to see that between an ML and NFL. So favorite character, again, very, very hard. I'm going to cheat and go with two, because it goes without saying that all three of like the women are my favorites. I'm not gonna pick, but two favorite characters after that would be the brother, Hyobong, I think his name is. I loved him playing human jukebox to all of their background music, to all of their interactions. Yeah. I thought he was amazing, and I loved the energy he brought to just their living room. And two, I think on my rewatch, I think I really, really liked Minjun, who is Somin's, Somin's boyfriend. And it wasn't just the belching scene, but also, where he sticks up for her before, you as the viewer have started empathizing with her, right? He walks up to Yoonjung and says, I don't think you were fair to her on this live telecast. I think she's a very smart woman. She's just not smart in the same way you are. And I don't think you did the right thing. And I just thought, that is so nice. Like that's so beautiful that you're sticking up for her in such a nice way. And okay, sorry, one more honorable mention, the angry director. He is amazing. I will be taking no questions.
Yeah.
All right, those are good picks. Michelle?
How about you, Michelle?
Yeah, for me, I like the Son Bum-soo director, but for me personally, resonated character was Jung Hae-jung writer, the main writer. I really liked her character because it's very realistic for me. From this drama, I think the Jung writer, the main writer, was very realistic person, but at the same time, it's not realistic because she seems like proud, actually, and then she seems like very like give like pressure to the people. It's very realistic, but the other way she's very cute, and then she respect, actually later on she kind of turned her side to respect the Im writer too. So for me, that's actually very realistic from this drama, the Jung writer. So I liked her, and then she was very cute when she becomes like rabbit after the drink, and then it actually happened. I saw someone very similar like habit after drink. So actually that was very realistic for me. Yeah, people are like that actually after drink.
Interesting.
Yeah, and but I kind of wanted to mention that one character I don't understand, I don't relate it, was the what is the name? Okay, I found it. The name was Chu Jae-hoon. She was a Hanju's not boyfriend, but Hanju's assistant. The guy. Yeah, I kind of wanted to mention this because I couldn't understand him at all because of her girlfriend kind of abuse.
Yeah.
I feel like her girlfriend abused him, but he's still like end of the drama. They are not like totally breaking up. They are kind of getting back together, right? That's what I remember. So I was like, I cannot really understand. So that I think that character I couldn't understand actually from this drama. I don't know why, because I don't have the experience. So, but yeah.
You never do.
Yeah, but yeah, that was two characters I kind of wanted to. And then I wanted to mention about this actually. This director and then writer, real director and then writer of this drama, he is actually a very famous director. And then I kind of liked his movie. Two movies very what is that? His two movies very famous. One is 20. I don't know, you guys watched it. Did you watch it?
No.
Oh, but
The one is
Noting it down. We will. 20.
The
Okay.
movie is 20. And then the other movies, I don't know the English. Maybe I'll let you know. This is very
Is
famous.
20
It
the
was-
one with Kim Woo Bin? Does it have Kim Woo Bin?
Yes.
I've seen
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you've seen it? Okay, shit, I have to watch it.
And then the other one is Extreme Job. That's a comedy movie. But I really like this about this director. And then I didn't know the writer was the director too. The director was writing this script too. And then he's kind of good at making characters. That's why this drama is so like interesting. There's nothing like happen sudden or dramatic things, but all the character has reasons and all the character is very nice character. So I didn't know actually, but I was searching for this video, and then I realized, wow, his name is Lee Byung-hun, the director name. And then I think I recommend watching these two movie, but movies. These two movies were pretty funny movies.
Yeah, 20 is funny. Weird and funny.
Yeah.
Okay. In the essence of time, I'll be quick. My character, I can't pick a favorite character. Like I like so many things about so many characters, but I'll pick a relatable character. Again, which was also very difficult to pick because I relate with like little things from so many characters. But one character I find I am the most similar to is Jinju, the main writer, because her way of coping with stress is complaining. Whenever she's stressed, she only complains. She whines about people and her work and how she cannot eat fried chicken in peace, and she just and she's just better, like 10 times better when she's just complaining and whining all the time. Yeah, that's her. That's Jinju. So I feel like that's me a lot because I love complaining, nagging people, whining about things and crying about things, and that just instantly uplifts my mood. So Chef can testify with that. She has
story.
Yeah, so I feel like that's totally me. And also my ideal world, like her world, is where we can eat fried chicken in peace and not put on weight, and that's like the go-to healthy lifestyle. So yeah, it's Jinju for me. I think I am like her in a lot of ways. And Chef, what about you? Favorite character / relatable?
So honorable mention to Jinju's ex. I think he was a very reasonable character. Like what they show is that this couple really grows apart. You know, they've been together for so many years and they grow apart. But there is a lot. I mean, it fuels two entirely different series. You know, at the same time. So obviously there was a lot that happened in that relationship. At one point, he also said something which the journalist in me was like, story idea. Because he said something about how, soon there's going to be a lot of places in Korea where people can eat alone. And then you realize that sometime last year, a Korean journalist had actually done a story like that for Rest of World about how Michelle would know this better, how there's an entire industry that's being created around people who live alone. Even if they are in romantic relationships, there's a name for it as well, which I'm forgetting right now. So I thought, and this drama happened a few years before that. So he was just very prescient like that. So I quite liked him. I think I enjoyed the scenes that he was in. I think they were very real, those scenes, the kind of conversations that he would have with everyone. He's just a very real character. The one person obviously I relate to the most is Yoon Jung, the documentary director. I am in love with her, and I'm also I think her character also kind of manifests one of my biggest fears, which I have mentioned in the previous episode where we briefly discussed melodramatic, losing your significant other, and how that sort of impacts you. I think that is one of my biggest fears. So it kind of like seeing that over there also just is very. I think it's just very surreal in that sense. She's somebody who also gets really bogged down by a lot of work and gets really stressed. Like the psychotherapist had to at one point tell her, you need to take a break, go out, go do something different this weekend. And I know so many times, so many of my friends and family members have to tell me to take a break from work. and she enjoys her work thoroughly, again, which is something that I relate to as well. But sometimes
that's the reason why I couldn't relate with her. She enjoys her work too much. I'm like, oh, no, what is this new concept? I hate my work.
Yeah, so that's why I relate to her, because I enjoy my work out and out, but it also sort of tires me out. I just love her. I think there's just too many things, but I can just sort of sum it up and say that she's somebody who, she's a mirror, and she's also another shoulder that I would sort of want to use to cry on. So she's a bit of both, and best of both worlds in that sense.
Okay.
Nice. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our show, our episode, and we have exactly 2 minutes left. So in case Michelle wants to sing us the shampoo song, now is a good time. If not, no pressure. But do you want to go ahead and sing one line, just one line, and we'll hum with you.
Okay. I'll just do it.
Okay.
I forgot the actual lyrics, but I just sing the first part.
Okay.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. 흔들리는 꽃들 속에서 내 샴푸 향이 느껴진 거야. 스쳐 지나간 걸까? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh,
Thank you,
good.
Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. Can I just say it was so nice to discuss a show about girlfriends with a bunch of new chingus.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is great.
Thank you once again,
Absolutely
Atula
lovely.
and Michelle, for joining us. We loved having you here. And for the rest of our fans, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which other show you want us to cover in our next episode. And see you next time.
Bye.